Just seems like a kind of a lazy Memorial Day, Sunday. Let's just take a moment, stand up, say hi to people around you. 30 seconds just to move around a little bit. Go. All right, thank you for stepping outside your comfort zone. Each week in Easter, we've been examining a post-resurrection account of Jesus in the Gospel of John. We're kind of just taking John chapters 20 and 21 right to the end. And today we come to a phrase where Jesus says, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" Even as Mackenzie was talking to the kids, I thought, to love someone or to say, "I love you," can be an abstract idea. Mackenzie did a good job of trying to get the kids to think concretely about that, but it can be kind of abstract. What does it mean to say, "I love you"? Or that it can be hard to say, "I love you," those three words. Now, kids, they say it pretty easily, but sometimes for adults, those can be hard words to say. Honestly, especially for men sometimes, to say that you love someone can be difficult because we might have trouble being vulnerable or open to say something like that. There's a vulnerability when you say, "I love you." And so what does that mean, and how do we do that? What does it mean to love Jesus? Again, especially for men, it's not something we always say. We say, "Well, I believe in Jesus," or "I follow Jesus." That's okay, that's easy to say. But to love Jesus, what does that mean? Peter he'd gone back to work. It's what he knew. He'd gone back fishing. It was his income. He and some of the disciples were fishing, not very successfully. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be fishing with my dad and brother and my boys in northern Minnesota, and sometimes not very successfully. And I was talking to Jacob, my son, yesterday. I was like, "Yeah, what if we're fishing, we're not catching anything, and there's somebody on shore that says, throw the line on the other side of the boat," and all of a sudden we start hammering those walleye. Well, that's what happened to Peter and the disciples. A stranger just says, "Hey, try the other side." They go to the other side, and there's a net full of flopping fish, a load. And then they're like, "Oh, of course, that stranger on shore is Jesus." We looked at that last week. Well, then they come to shore, then they have breakfast with Jesus, and then there's the episode we come to today where Peter and Jesus have a conversation. You get a sense that it was maybe while walking along the shoreline, and you get a sense that maybe John was just behind in earshot because John's the one that records it. But nonetheless, it was a conversation between two people, between Peter and Jesus. And the conversation follows a threefold pattern. A question, then Peter's response, and then Jesus' response to Peter. So it starts with this question: "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And three times Jesus asks, 15, 16, verse 17, "Do you love me?" Peter, "Do you love me?" Simon, son of John, "Do you love me?" And then three times, Peter responds, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Twice he says that, and then the last time, verse 17, because he's probably wondering, does he believe me? He was grieved, the text says. Wondered if it may be hurt that Jesus didn't think it was sincere enough. And so the last time he says, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. You know it." Three times he says that. And then three times, Jesus offers a response each time. Kind of a variation, similar thing. "Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep." Pattern, a threefold pattern. As Mackenzie noted, remember, Jesus had denied Peter had denied Jesus 3 times. And so he says, "Do you love me?" 3 times. 3 times Peter said, I don't know him. I've never met him. Don't know the man. And now 3 times Jesus asks if he loves him. This repetition has purpose. It's intentional. You can only love Jesus when you know the love he first has for you. Then you have something to respond with. So here in this repetition, it's as if Jesus is saying, Peter, you know I love you. Though you denied me, though you walked away at the most critical moment, Jesus is saying 3 times, I love you, Peter. I forgive you. I take you back. Isn't that good news for us? Proof in the cross that he restores us, forgives us, takes us back, even when we don't deserve it. Each time, Jesus has a similar response. Do you love me? Peter responds, you know I love you. And then 3 times, he has this similar response. Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep. Each time he replies with a verb, it's action. And here's what's important for you. And I think you know this, but this is important to see in the text, that love always requires action. Do you love me? Yeah, I love you. Okay, feed my lambs, tend my sheep. They are action words. And love always does something. It's not just something you speak. It's not just a card that you write to somebody and say, happy Hallmark Day, and you give it to them. Love requires an action, a response, to do something. And love, in many ways, isn't love until it gives something up, until it sacrifices. When a couple makes vows of love before one another in marriage, that's great, that's fine to say it, but then that love is tested day in and day out, 10 years later, 20 years later, 50 or 60 or 70 years later. That's when you find out if love is real in action, over and over, again and again, even in the worst times. Love requires action. And so, to love Christ is to obey him, to listen to him, to do what he says. It's action. Then Jesus goes into really a couple of troubling sentences. If you'd read these with me. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry where you do not want to go. This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. We've come to know Peter as a proud, independent man. If you know anything about Peter, you know he's pretty bold. So remember his bold confession where he said to Jesus, "You are the Christ. I know the right answer." And he's quick to say it. Remember that he says this in Mark 14, "Even if they all fall away, Jesus, I won't." He even said this, again, Mark 14, "If I must die with you, I will not deny you." And then remember Peter with the sword in the garden when Jesus is arrested. He goes to defend Jesus, pulls out the sword, cuts off Malchus's ear. Peter by nature is strong, independent, proud, bold. So then Jesus makes this prediction about Peter, and it doesn't seem strong or powerful. It's a position of dependence, of weakness, and suffering. If you look 4 lines down, you'll see the phrase, "You will stretch out your hands." That was commonly known, kind of code for crucifixion, to stretch out your hands. And Peter would be crucified according to tradition. It's not in the Bible, but from what we know, historically, traditionally, he was crucified. And even, you may know, in Rome, under Emperor Nero, you may know that he was crucified and he said, "I'm not worthy to die like my Lord," and so he asked to be crucified upside down. So Jesus gives this prediction. Peter, do you love me? You know I love you. Feed my lambs, tend my sheep. And there's love here, even to suffering and death. Do you love me? It seems gruesome, chilling, and yet the last line, he said this to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. God is glorified when love leads even to something extreme like that. God is glorified. Love would lead Peter to suffering, even to death. Peter lived under this prediction probably for 3 decades. Can you imagine that? Having this spoken to you, and then maybe for 30 years, just kind of knowing that this is coming. Do you love me? Jesus said. What does this mean for you? Well, very simply today, confirmation students, if you're taking sermon report notes, one of the keys today is that to love Jesus requires action. He invites response. His love invites response. But if you look at this, you wonder, suffering and death? This seems pretty extreme. It's harsh. It's severe. Does he mean that for you too? How do we deal with the severity of what Jesus calls us to in loving him? This little conversation kind of concludes here in verse 19, where Jesus simply says 2 words, "Follow me." Follow me. That first word is harsh. The second word is grace. The first word is severe. The second word is love. The first word, follow. Follow means to obey Jesus when he speaks, to follow his command, to do what he says. That first word, follow, means to go where he leads. It means to leave things behind, to walk away from them, and to walk into a future that's uncertain, and to walk by faith. That word follow means to give your life as he gave his. And if that's the case, then it could be harsh. It could be extreme and severe. That word follow is harsh. But the second word, me. Oh, that word is nothing but grace. Why would anyone follow even unto death? We follow because it's him. It's not just anybody. It's this one, the me. Who is the me in follow me? Well, it's the one who followed his mission even unto death. It's the one who loves you more than anybody you've ever met before. And so to follow him is grace. His yoke is easy, his burden is light. He's already carried everything that you've ever shouldered on your back, every sin, every burden. He's carried it, taken it to the cross. That's the me in follow me. And that's worth following. Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" Look at him. Look at the one who asked the question, "Do you love me?" Love led him to a hill that looks like a skull. Love led him to die for people who rejected him, did not accept him. Love led him to die for people who denied and betrayed him. Love led him to suffering and to death. Love led him to you. Just for you. So Jesus asked today, do you love me? And it can be hard sometimes to say those words, I love you. Makes us vulnerable and open. It's a risk to say those words. But when Jesus of Nazareth says those words to you, you can be confident in your response because you know the one who asks, do you love me? You know everything about him. And no one loves you more than he does. And so you can respond with confidence, Jesus, you know I love you. And then he replies, follow me. Amen.